In a high-stakes, highly anticipated battle between undefeated champions Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol, they'll finally get it on for the undisputed light heavyweight title, Saturday, October 12th. The winner of this fight will be one above all. Let's talk about this amazing matchup and what may happen. The irony of the Four Crown Showdown taking place Saturday, October 12th between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol, the two unified champions who are going for undisputed against one another in the light heavyweight division, is not being called the Day of Reckoning. Is quite interesting, because that's exactly what it is, a day of reckoning between these two men who want to hold a stake to the claim of being the best in their respective division of boxing. This card is going to be one of the best cards of the year, even though there is a -1 that was originally planned. It's still going forward, and we're going to see a number of named fighters competing on this card. And I like the fact that the Riyadh season events are bringing fighters together in 50-50 matches. You're going to see the likes of the return to the ring of Chris Eubank Jr. as he takes on Camille Sharameta, and you're going to see young hopeful Ben Whitaker taking on Liam Cameron. Also, you're going to have Jai Opataya competing against Jack Massey, as well as Fabio Wardley taking on Frazier Clark in a rematch that have set the heavyweight division on fire, specifically from the UK, between two young men who hope to throw their hat in the arena of contention for a world title by 2025. But the main event between Beterbiev and Bivol is what it's all about. Now, the -1 that we spoke of was a fight that was supposed to take place between Shakur Stevenson and Joe Cordina, but Stevenson bowed out with an alleged hand injury. But plenty of hands remain on deck for this fight. Beterbiev, who comes in with a record that is one of the best in boxing and of most recent history for a champion, with an all knockout ratio, and has developed a reputation for being an assassin. But he is far more than that. And Bivol, who is coming into this as a fighter who we now can say is representative of the most consummate of boxer, puncher type styles. Even though he hails from Russia, he's a fighter that is dainty of his footwork. His hand speed is very decent at the weight, and his record of 23-0 with 12 KOs speaks of his ability to get the job done inside the distance as well as going the distance. Artur Beterbiev will be the strongest challenge for him, but Dmitry Bivol primarily has enjoyed his success beating fighters that are not necessarily like Artur Beterbiev. And when he trounced Canelo Alvarez back in May of 2022, that's when his name was really put in the light. But many who recognize what's been happening in the light heavyweight division know Beterbiev has been the man. He has been the man going all the way back to 2019 when he defeated Alexander Vasquez in a tough fight that saw Vasquez retire, or you can say he was retired by Artur. This is the type of fighter that many of this modern era feel like they can hope that they can get through their careers without facing. Beterbiev is more than just a knockout puncher. He's a guy that goes in there and he breaks people down psychologically first, physically second. And that's a gross miscalculation by most of the fighters who face him. They don't think about the psychological aspect of it because he presents himself a different manner. Now, when you talk about Bivol's style, he's kind of in and out in a rhythmic type motion. He comes from mid-range to outside range to get inside, get his shots off, give you an angle, or step out of there. It's almost repetitive because when you look at it, it seems like something that could be timed, or you can just wait to meet him at a certain point. But he does it in different fashions. He'll jab you up, he'll jab you down, he'll up jab you, he'll feint. And this variety kind of confuses his opponents. It's a little similar to the way that Israel Madrimov fought Terrence Bud Crawford, but there is a way to defeat that style. And because the Russian, who now hails out of Canada, Artur Beterbiev, is very familiar with that style. Matter of fact, there was a point when he fought that way himself in the amateurs. His record, 20-0 with 22 KOs, 20-0 with 20 KOs, have seen him do exactly what he's supposed to do against his opponents. He cuts the ring off. He closes the gap. He defends and he counters. And then sometimes he can go into an all-out assault. Those are the type of variety aspects of fighting that most fighters don't have. They're not complete fighters. And many people, as I said, look at him as a knockout machine only. Bivol on the inside can throw combinations, but the 12 KOs suggest that he's not really a knockout puncher. I wouldn't say that he's not a knockout puncher. I will say that he is more interested in getting shots off and not being in there for the receipt, which is why he's not going for knockouts to just blow people out. However, if he gets you hurt, he can follow up and sustain punishment on an opponent to the degree that he breaks him down and gets a stoppage. This is not the fight for him to do that, because if he tries to stand in with Artur Beterbiev, who is most expert at when people are attacking him, believe it or not when he's on the offense, but when they're attacking him, because he knows how to give angles and deliver punishing, well-placed shots, uppercuts, hooks to the body, step around shots that land to the solar plexus. I've seen this man break opponents down with this fierce delivery of punch placement that he gets absolutely little to no credit for. And that comes from being an experienced fighter who is calm in the ring, not worried about the circumstances, and understands that he has 12 rounds to work with. It's going to be a very interesting fight. I do believe they are both the best that one another has tested. However, maybe not, because Bivol is a guy who has enjoyed most of his fame off of defeating Saul Canelo Alvarez. The other fighters, Craig Richards, Umar Salamov, Gilberto Ramirez, Lennon Arthur, and his last opponent, Malik Zanad. They don't measure up to the guys that Arthur has been fighting, even though Arthur has not been fighting as frequent as the rest of the fighters in the division. Sometimes due to injury, other times due to he just waits until the opportunity comes so he can take an opponent that he really relishes and wants to defend against. And the example of that is when you look at whom he's fought over his last 6 fights. Going all the way back again, as I spoke of, Alexander Vasquez in October of 19. Then Marcus Brown in December of 2021, in which he suffered a tremendous cut from a headbutt in the center of his forehead. That followed with a May 2022 fight against Joe Smith Jr., who at the time, Joe Smith Jr. was one of the top light heavyweights in the division, and decided to attack Arthur and got taken out inside 2 rounds. Then that was followed up by the athletic Anthony Yarde in January of 2023. And then earlier this year, January 2024, Callum Smith. These are fighters that presented all different types of adversity for Arthur, and he came through with flying colors. So I'm picking him to defeat Dimitri Bivol by stoppage. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.